Just got it on now. The sign's up.
Okay, being 7 o'clock, I call this Board of Appeals meeting to order. There is no minutes. First order of business is going to be 262 Groton Road when they get here.
The applicant's coming in, Mr. Chair. Would you like to seat Mr. Valcourt, Mr. Earl?
I would. Mr. Earl and Mr. Valcourt, are you seated on this?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. Douglas DeShane representing the applicant. I did a little show and tell for you tonight.
Oh, that's the best, though.
You know?
That's the best.
All the way from Newburyport, huh?
All the
Show and
way.
tell? Geez, that's a pleasure.
It's downhill all the way.
Both ways.
You're a downhill man. Thank you.
I do have it up on the board, but I just figured you guys, rather than turning your neck and straining, you gotta make it easy. That's my eyes aren't what they used to be, so I strain to see the board. Just a blow up of a plan, so you don't have to look at it in 8.5 by 11. Can I change the slide with this too?
No,
Do I give you the signal? All right, well, again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, Douglas DeShane from Finneran and Nicholson representing the applicant. With me here this evening, and we can go to the next slide, which is just that. Matt Waterman from Land Tech Consultants, who is our engineer. Also, Faisal Mayor, he is here with me in the crowd. He is our client and the current, he and his brother are the current operators of the station at 262 Groton Road. To give you a quick summary, my client would like to add a 16-foot wide by 48-foot long addition to the existing service gas station at 262 Groton Road, and as you'll see in a minute, proposing to put it on the back. However, because we're putting it on the back, we have a required setback of 15 feet. However, as proposed at 16 feet wide, which quite frankly is sort of what's necessary for a service bay, you know, if you had an 11-foot bay, you wouldn't be able to move around the car at all. So we went to 16, which is technically the narrowest effective bay. And therefore, we're seeking a relief of a variance for 4.5 feet. And I'll show you on the plan where that comes from. And therefore, our if we can go back. Our resulting setback would be 11.5 feet at the closest point, but close to 13 feet at the farthest point. So the proposed addition, and the reason they're doing this, is to provide an additional service bay and storage space for the facility. They currently have two service bays. One of them is entirely for auto repair and whatnot. The second bay, for better or worse, gets shared with the inspection services. You know, you go in for a sticker. So that service bay is, you know, not necessarily one you can leave a car in all day and work on it, because they've got people coming in for stickers all day. So what this third bay would do is to allow them to have two dedicated service bays and allow that center bay to continue to be their inspection bay. Or, you know, when they have time, they could use it for a quick job. The company currently employs 2 full-time mechanics. Plus, Faisal is there, you know, sort of managing things and helping out. But they have 2 dedicated mechanics. They're not proposing to hire anyone else. Essentially, what this would do is allow each of those mechanics to have a dedicated service bay. Okay, and again, then that first one. So I know some questions have been raised by the staff, and I'll answer them later about whether this is proposed to generate additional business and, you know, are we going to hire more people and create more traffic? The answer is no, but what it will do is allow them to be more efficient in getting cars in and out, which we're hoping will reduce the need for all the parking of cars that's there today. This plan, as I'll discuss down the road, is hopefully going to allow them to, one, clean up back there. You know, there's a big storage trailer back there, there are tools stored back there, there's a lot of stuff back there. This would allow them to get that stuff out of there and indoors, okay? One of the first things we'll have to do is get rid of that big trailer back there that's been there, I hear, for over 20 years. So get that out of there. Also, because we will now need to come in, hopefully, into this new bay, they're no longer going to be able to keep those cars parked against the back, corner. And again, I'll show you on a plan. But generally want to just say that as part of this addition, if it's allowed, they are going to be able to redesign their parking and their flow through of cars. And we believe that will result in the need to store less cars. And in fact, as part of this process, and not only are we here, but if we get the variance, we're going to have to go to planning board, for site plan review. They're going to want to see our new parking plan. They're going to want to see our new traffic access. And we're very confident that if we can build this building, we're going to be able to show the planning board, and we would agree as a condition to limit, overnight storage of cars. Again, overall, to clean up and make this place more efficient, which in talking with the neighbors, they are supportive of. They want to see less cars being stored there on a, overnight or a number of days. So, all right, Joe, let's go to the next plan. So guys, you know where we're talking about, orange button. Well, whichever is easier for you guys to see, but here we are, 226, we're on the intersection of Dunstable and Groton Road, and there we are. We have 3 general abutting neighbors. We have the one across the street in the brick house over here across from Dunstable. We have a property directly behind us, and we have the neighbor to the left, who I believe is here tonight. And as I will tell you in a bit, we've talked with our neighbors about what we're proposing to do. To give you a different perspective, guys, and again, I know most of you are familiar with this site, but it's an interesting perspective from above, showing you the vegetation, because again, while we don't have much between us and the neighbor across the street, Dunstable Road, there is a significant amount of vegetation in the back, along with a stockade fence that runs back there that really limits what this neighbor from the back sees, sees during the day and as things go along. And our neighbor to the right, again, who I believe is here, I just want to point out there is pretty good. There's some pretty good vegetation that that separates their property from us, especially where we're proposing to put this addition in the back. A lot of that view is going to be blocked. And again, what the neighbor does see now is the cars that are parked there, and we're hoping to be able to reduce that and to make it a more aesthetically looking situation. So if we can go to the next slide, I got some pictures for you guys. Again, I know you're all familiar with the site, but I think it's important. So here we are looking from across Groton Road, and then here's our neighbor to the right here. The neighbor to behind we can't see because of these trees, and then the neighbor to the left is out of the picture, but you can see some of these more mature trees that are along here. So currently cars are being parked here and along the back here and along the back on this side. So what I'm saying is with this addition, there's going to be limited parking available here because we need to get back there. And we are going to organize and, again, limit number of parking. Here's a picture. The next picture is if we walk down to the right side of the facility. Here's the existing bay that I think is the inspection bay. We're proposing an addition right off the back here. And as you'll see when I show you the architectural plans, so we're just going to put a slant roof here, which won't be any higher than the current building, and it'll come down here. It's essentially going to sit right where we see this trailer and tires and whatnot, and this parking right here is what I'm saying will no longer be allowed because you know, we will likely need to get into that bay. Next picture is just continuing my walk around the back. There's the trailer we looked at just a moment ago. But what I wanted to show you here is that the back of the property. We've got a significant topographic change from the back of the building to where this fence is. It's very steep banking, probably, Matt, what, 4 feet? Yeah. 4.5 feet. And then that fence sits on top of it. And that's really what is currently and will continue to provide blocking of view to any of this area to our neighbor behind. Next picture. Now this is looking straight down the back of the building where the addition is proposed. As you can see, there's machinery stored back here. There's parts and materials. There's a trailer. There's a truck. This addition essentially sits right here. You know, it runs the length of the back of the building and will replace what you're looking at here. Allow us to clean all of this out of here, put the equipment and materials in the facility, and get rid of these trailers and whatnot. Again, this has kind of been like this a long time. The next picture, I've now kind of walked back, and as you can see, that back area is pretty flat, and then here starts the slope that goes up to the neighbors. If you look through, you can see our neighbor across Dunstable here. And again, this addition will essentially sit right where that trailer and truck are, and all of this area that will then be cleaned. And you know, certainly we're agreeable to a condition that says can't start storing stuff back there again. Next picture, again, guys, I'm just trying to get you around the building. This is with me my back to the trailer and the truck, looking to our neighbor to behind, and you can see that fence runs pretty much the whole length of the property. And you know, standing where I was, you can't see the neighbor to the back any more than they can see you. The next picture, now this is looking from the right side of the building. So this is kind of the view the gentlemen, the folks across Dunstable Road have, looking over to the station. They see the parking, and then this is what they see in the back of the building. If the addition is constructed, what they will now see is, you know, the slanted roof like this and another door opening. So, you know, again, I think an improvement to aesthetics for all neighbor views. This is the house directly behind us on Dunstable Road. This is the house that I'm, you know, repeatedly telling you is protected by the fence. Their house is a significant distance from the back property line, so much so I couldn't get it all in the picture, so I did it in 2 shots. So see this little shadow on the, oops, I pushed the wrong button. Exit, do you think? Get me out of that? I hit this instead of the orange one. Exit? Yep. So this shadow right here, if you just kind of take a look at it, and Joe, if we could go to the next picture, there's that shadow. And you can see the fence is quite a distance from that house, and there it is back there. There's that fence. So, you know, from their yard and whatnot, I don't know how much of the roof they see, but they're certainly not going to be able to see this, the addition, because it sits some 4.5 feet lower than you know, the bottom of that fence. So that neighbor's been well protected and sheltered from the cessation for many years. So we're not looking to interfere with that in any way. And I think my next picture, that was the last picture. Okay, great. So that gives you an idea. So let's talk about the proposed addition. And here it is, right here. It's the back of the building, a door here and a door here. As I said, it's going to sit right where that trailer and the truck are. You know, to this side, to the right side, there'll be just the service bay, which I'll show you a picture of that architectural picture. There'll be no parking allowed here anymore, so we'll only be able to park cars here and some along here. And then from the perspective of the Dunstable Road neighbor, again, he's going to look quite a distance beyond the parked cars here, and he too will see just a door to the bay. And what we are hoping to achieve here is all that other crap that you saw in those pictures would be eliminated, cleaned up, stored inside here. And then, of course, the part of it will be a service bay to help move things through the process quicker. Joe, my next slide. So here is the picture. As you can see, we have 2 existing bays now. Here's the existing structure. The goal would be to just put a roof like this and come straight down. This is a 16-foot width. As you can see, it'll be, consistent with the existing bays. And so this view is essentially what our neighbor to the right, left will see. But, and I'm sorry I don't have it, but the other side, which faces Dunstable Road, it's identical to that.
Well, I stopped in the other day and was talking with Faisal, and maybe I misunderstood him, but I thought he was not going to have another door on the Dunstable Road side.
Well, he told me today that he wasn't going to have a door there, but his brother initially told Matt to put one on the other end. So, yes, we would not propose a bay door. I mean, you might want to put a people door.
Right.
But he told me tonight they're not going to put a bay door at that end because cars aren't going to be coming in and out of there. That's going to be essentially what's the storage part of it. So,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
The view to the other side, I apologize, I just heard tonight, we are not proposing a bay door, but rather, I think you'd want a people door,
Most likely, yes.
So what the people on the Dunstable Road side would see if they looked across the street past the cars is the addition and a people door, and so not a full bay. So I apologize for that at the time. How brothers can be, right? They make different decisions, but thank you for pointing that out. There will not be a bay door facing Dunstable Road. Again, this is just a floor plan, and again, with eliminating that bay door, that's not going to be used for stuff, and the addition is in its entirety right here. This is our existing facility, the office, and the 2 bathrooms there. So let's talk a little bit about the next slide. I want to talk about, how we're meeting your variance criteria. How does soil condition, shapes, or topography of the land affect this process, this land in particular, but not the rest of the zoning district? Well, not necessarily related to soil shape or topography, but as you know, this has been a long-standing, pre-existing, non-conforming use in a residential neighborhood. In fact, Faisal was telling me today, him and his brothers have been there 40 years. They've been servicing Westford community. So they've been there a long time. And as you guys know, they've undergone some changes at the site. The town took, or the state probably took, a lot of the frontage along Groton Road, when they widened Groton Road. That certainly resulted in changing the shape of this to narrow it. So unfortunately, now we're faced with this addition to the back. We can't come forward. We, can only go to the back. And again, as I mentioned, there's a steep topographic change in the lot in the back, which, also impacts their ability to push back in that direction. But on the other hand, it provides a real benefit in that this is set lower than the neighbors in the back. So by the time we put the fence on the top of that 4.5-foot thing, you can see they're really, really sheltered. I'm actually going to go to my written answers. I know I've provided these to you guys in writing as part of my application. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So why don't you just take a look at that real quick. How would a literal enforcement involve substantial hardship, financial or others? Well, the purpose of the variance is to allow them to create this additional bay and storage facility. The bay is needed so that the owners can, expand their ability to move cars in. So that when they get a car in, it comes in, it's gone that day, rather than now, they come in and they tell the client, well, if we can get to it today, we will, we got limited space, but if we can you know, and so sometimes the cars stay a couple of days. We're hoping this will eliminate that. So in not allowing the variance, you know, there is a substantial hardship in terms of the business's ability to be efficient, and quite frankly, their ability to clean the site up, not only for their own edification, but also for the neighbors. I mentioned that my client has gone out and spoken with all of his abutting neighbors, and one is here to speak, so I won't say, but the report I've received back is that the folks in the back have no issues. They, you know, quite frankly, they're sheltered to a point where they don't see anything anyway. Maybe they hear something if they're doing something outside, but obviously with this new bay, there will be less opportunity for anything to happen, quote, outside. So, you know, it'll make things even quieter than it is. Again, based on my discussion my client had with them, they've wished us luck, and they have no opposition to this because we've been good neighbors and we have a good, fence there. The gentleman to the right side of Dunstable Road, he too does not oppose this. In fact, he wished my client good luck. And thanked him for being a good neighbor and always working with them. So, you know, these guys have done a good job at being good neighbors. Again, I know the neighbor to the other side is here, so I won't speak, but I understand that his concern was hoping that this would actually allow for less storage of cars. So, you know, it is in keeping with what we're trying to achieve, and so hopefully, you know, beneficial to him as well, or the folks that live there. How our petition may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good or nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent of the bylaw. Well, I certainly think that there's no detriment to the public good in doing this. In fact, in many ways, I think cleaning up the site, making it more efficient, limiting parking, is a benefit as to the public good, and in fact, we know at least one of our neighbors sees this as a benefit to cleaning this place up and getting it more organized. Are we derogating from the intent and purpose of the bylaw? Well, the intent and purpose of setbacks, as we know, is to prevent overcrowding. It's to prevent, you know, pushing buildings too close to neighbors. It's to prevent just, you know, interference with our neighbors. We're looking for about a 4-foot variance here on a lot line that, you know, is already 4.5 feet high and has this fence. So I don't think granting the variance to the lot line is going to have any impact on the back neighbor. Again, they support this. So we're not derogating from the intent or purpose of the bylaw, which is to protect neighbors, right? Don't build your stuff too close to us. Don't make your use come too close to us. That's why we have the laws. But in this particular case, this small variance will in fact allow my client to be a better neighbor, to make the situation even better than what's out there today. So, you know, it's not often we see real strong variance criteria or justifications, but I think in this case, the variance will in fact allow us to be better neighbors and have a better facility. Next slide, please, Joe. So, in conclusion, gentlemen, as presented, the variance request, I believe, is in conformance with the variance criteria, and in fact, will some way be benefit. Allowing the variance, and so the addition will allow a long-time business, Westford business, to operate even more efficiently and effectively than now. The variance will not be detrimental to the neighborhood. Quite frankly, even the neighbors on either side, except for the guy on the Dunstable side, Dunstable Road side, you're really not going to see this. You know, the guy on the left got to look through the trees and the parked cars to even see it. People in the back can't see it. People in the public can't see it. I mean, if you drive down Groton Road, you might get a little glance of it, but no one's going to see it. It's really mostly unseen by abutters, and certainly will not be readily seen by the general public. And again, my biggest point here, gentlemen, is it's going to improve the aesthetics of this site for the neighbors. Again, with our agreement to reduce parking and limit overnight parking, I think that's a good overall benefit. It's a win-win from my perspective. So with that, Mr. Waterman is here to answer any questions you have on the site plan. My client is here to, quite frankly, to answer any questions you might have about his intentions and the fact that we're not looking to expand the business, we're not hiring new people. We just need to get what we got going, what he's got going now, more effective. So happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, I guess I'll start off. I'm just kind of curious, how many cars a day can you work on?
Oh, for me, question. So, as far as working in the garage or inspection, we do like maybe 10 to 30 cars of inspections a day, and then cars from between 10 and 20 cars a day on average.
Could you just call out your name for the record?
Just stand up.
Just stand up here and tell us your name,
Sorry.
and that way it's on the public record. That's okay.
Yeah.
Tell us your name.
My name is Faisal Murhi. I operate the station for the last 36 years. And then, like I said, we do a lot of high volume of inspections that will limit our entrance to the lift that we have inside, so we can actually bring cars in and fully work on it efficiently and get it out. Most of the time, if you do an oil change, it takes like an hour or so to kind of move the oil change out of the inspection bay, because we have a high volume of inspection, people going in and out for 5-10 minutes, and then that will kind of give us more than the extra bay, as Mr. Jushan mentioned. That would be for storage and one lift, so we can go in and out without the distraction of having the customer inspection, people waiting or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some of the concerns that I have is, the last time I was there, which was kind of over the weekend, there were 26 cars parked there.
Mm-hmm.
There were 6 unregistered cars with no plates.
Correct.
So if this is to be approved, I think we're going to set a limit on overnight parking. The 6 cars with no plates are gone.
I already called, excuse me, I don't want to cut you off, but I already called for, forgot the name of the company, to remove those unused cars.
Okay.
And they have a lot of time. They said after the Labor Day weekend, they will pick up 3 of them. And then that's how we do it, basically. So yeah, you're right, they have a few cars that are unregistered that have to be
There's an
moved.
old gas pump out back.
Two
There's
of
all
them.
kinds of, as Doug said, crap. I didn't want to use that word, but your attorney used it, so it is.
Exactly, no, they removed
Shithouse.
That's a legal term.
It is, okay. So I know one of the other big concerns is the pile of parts, brake shoes, shocks, all this other stuff. I think I would like to suggest that we either get a metal dumpster, or we put up a stockade fence enclosure so you can throw all the stuff in there so that everybody is not looking at it. And I haven't decided which is which, but I think that's important.
Either way is doable.
As your attorney said, that there's not going to be an outside storage of equipment, and there's 50-gallon drums of oil stored outside. We can't have that. That's all going to go inside. And so then the other big issue in my mind is a special permit to extend the pre-existing non-conforming use. Now, there's been 2 other variances issued to this piece of property. Each time a special permit was added or put on with it. I think that's going to be a must.
Oh, just so that you know, I understood when we first started this project that we would have to go in for that special permit. It's just I didn't file it now because, if we don't get the variance, we're not building it, then, you know what I mean? So I have full intention, and as Joe put in the staff report, if the variance is granted, our next step will be to go to the planning board, right? Do you guys?
Zoning board. Zoning board.
This board will do
So my
the special
suggestion
permit.
to you, Doug, would be we can continue this to the next meeting after everybody answers their questions, and everything's done.
Right.
you can modify the permit to say, special permit and variance. If it's amenable to the board, staff can work on a draft for the next meeting,
Okay.
and it's not going to hold you up too much.
No, and I appreciate that, and again, I'm sorry for my mistake. I just, again, you know, sometimes I realizing that we have to get subsequent permits, you know, sometimes I save my client some money, maybe not time, but money by, you know, if you don't get the variance, well, then we really don't have to worry about the other one. But I think it's an excellent suggestion, and as I said, Joe in his staff report raised that same point, and he said, you know, what the board was going to have to consider in potentially filing for a special permit was, you know, the powers test, right? One, whether the use reflects a change in the nature or proposed purpose of the pre-existing. Well, we're not proposing, it's gasoline service station, we're not doing that. Whether there is a difference in quality or character, as well as degree of the use. The change in quality and character is mostly aesthetics. As far as the degree of use, again, we're not looking to do this to necessarily increase business, draw more people, or hire more people, but I think it's safe to say, if you make your business more efficient and you're able to move cars through quicker, then yeah, you probably might see an uptick in business. Right. But what won't come with that is, you know, storage of cars overnight. And then the third thing was whether the use would be indifferent in kind in its effect on the neighborhood. Well, I don't think it's going to change the effect on the neighborhood. A gasoline service station has inherent effects. But I think with cleaning it up, putting in this building and everything else, I think we make that better, you know, on the neighborhood. So by all means, I'm confident in our ability to meet your criteria for the special permit, provided the board thinks that the variance is not an unreasonable ask, I guess is what I'm saying. And of course, in applying for that, it would give us time to actually provide you the new parking plan, and I could even draft some restrictions on, as you mentioned, no unregistered vehicles, no outside storage of equipment, certainly no oil or other materials outside. We have to define for you on that revised plan a location for either a dumpster or an enclosed storage facility for
Your metal parts.
trash.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that, again, if the board feels that what we're not asking for on the variance is out of line, I'm happy to continue, go back, get you a new plan, modify my application, and then we can discuss the variance and the special permit at the same time, if that's what the board.
So the other thing you got to add to your homework there is you need to change the building plan so there's not a bay door on that end.
Yes.
So I'll open it up to the rest of the board for comment. Anybody else have any comments, questions, anything that works you there that?
The fence, maybe. Looks like, I don't know what the condition of that fence is, but the berm, 4.5 feet, fence is on top, they're cutting into that berm.
Well, we're not gonna cut into the berm, Jim, at all. No, we're still gonna have,
Still gonna have space
we're still gonna have like 5 or 6 feet. How much?
away from that berm?
Yeah,
Because there's the storage trailer, so we're both.
Looks like you're 4.5 feet from that fence is the lot
The
line?
fence is like,
the fence is actually on the neighbor's, you know,
Okay, so the neighbor's fence?
couple feet back.
It's
yeah, it
the
doesn't
neigh-
show up on that shot, I think just with, it's faded, but you can see the storage container and where the relationship of the addition is to the existing storage trailer, which is on level ground, so the addition stays on that level area
Could we
behind
go
the
back to that
the
picture
building.
that showed the gravel behind the trailer? There we go. So you can see to the left there where the
Yeah.
slope starts to go up?
Yeah.
We're not touching that.
Okay.
There'll still be space between the foot
it's
of
the neighbor's
foot of that
fence?
slope.
Yeah, I believe the fence is on the neighbor's property, excuse me.
Have you guys, I know a big part of that fence is newer than the part that we've been showing. Did
Yes.
you guys put in the new fence for them?
No, they did.
They did?
They did, I believe, yeah. It's been a long time. I don't remember when that was built, yeah.
What's the condition of the fence on the other side?
That's the newer section. You know, it's a lighter color. It looks newer.
As you face the building to the left-hand side, that
No, no, no.
butter?
To the right-hand side.
Okay. How is the condition of the fence on the left-hand side?
Well, that's the pictures I have.
No fence on the left-hand side.
Oh, you
Just
mean,
the vegetation.
you mean perpendicular to the
Yeah.
street? No, there's no
Between
fence.
258 and 262,
No,
is there a fence?
No.
Oh,
No.
yeah, but there's a fence, there's a new fence, yeah, he built.
Oh, I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
2 years old fence, new fence.
I just want to make sure that it's not going to fall down.
That's right.
No.
If they own it, then they're responsible, I suppose. It
Yeah,
looks like it's in
double
shape,
check on our.
enough shape to
See
fall down.
if you look in there to the right-hand side, see where I think this part of it is
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks newer, yeah.
new.
The neighbor must be
Oh,
responsible
and
for that.
actually,
We'll get
the
clarification.
neighbors on this side, I believe we show the fence on the site plan. So if you want to jump back to the site plan, I can point that out.
Hopefully, it doesn't show up because it's faded.
Okay, guys, if you could look at this one that I gave you?
We'll confirm the fence on the
Yeah, we'll
westerly side.
confirm it, but if you look here, there's a dotted line, a straight line, and then there's a little box, and a straight line, and a little box.
That's the fence?
That's the fence.
Oh, okay.
That's the fence. That's actually on our property.
That seems like it's far off your property, somewhat.
No, it's on it.
Yes.
See right here?
It's on the line. It's
See, this
between
is-
the pavement and the property line.
Yeah, it's right.
It's right on the
It
property
sits
line.
right in here. We'll verify that. I'll bring you some pictures.
Talking about
We're looking at the fence in the back.
In the back.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. If you look on the site plan, you'll also see that there's, probably a good 4 or 5 feet off our
That's-
property line.
that's the fence in the back?
It shows the old
That's this
fence.
one,
It shows
correct.
that.
And that's
fence.
all on their property?
That's about 10 feet off the property line. And then the other fence here was this one.
And it's on his property.
It's faded.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt, can you confirm, from when I was looking the other day, it looks like that fence is actually set back from the top of where it was excavated out.
Oh, yeah.
So like wherever that slope goes up to meet the existing grade, the fence is back a couple of feet towards that
It
neighbor in
seems
the
to
rear.
be, yeah, from that diagram, it looks
Yeah.
like it is.
Yeah.
We'll get a
We'll
dimension.
get better pictures, dimensions, and put them, make sure it's easier to see on the plan.
Doug, what are the hours of operation right now? How late are they there at night?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock at night?
Oh, for the gas station, the garage goes around 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saturdays?
Saturday, 8 to 2. 8 to 2.
Any other questions? Anybody in the audience like to speak? Okay.
It is blocked
Come on
right
up-
now.
come right up here to the microphone and give us your name.
I am Bob Bowers. I'm the neighbor to the left of the building, facing the building. And yes, I am blocked, but it's only 6 months of the year. All those leaves are gone. That's why I'm looking to get the place cleaned up. That's it.
Okay. Good point. Okay, so, Joe, you've got all,
I believe so, Mr. Chair, so we, and Attorney DeChaney discussed some of these as
Yeah,
well.
I got the laundry list. I'll check with Joe, make sure I got everything on it. I'll modify the permit, and we'll come back and give you another full presentation.
make it short, Doug.
Come on, guys, I haven't seen you in a while.
Lawyers run their meters.
Yeah,
Billable hours. Okay, can we have a motion to continue this to what day, Joe?
September 18th.
September 18th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Well, thanks, gentlemen. It's great to see you again, and we'll be
Thank you,
back in
everyone.
September with a much improved plan.
Yep. So, that's good.
Appreciate your time. Can I just-
So for the audience, September 18th is the next continuation of this. So they're coming back on September 18th With a, yep, supposedly. Parking, everything. Yep. Storage. Yep. Parts, everything. Yep.
And if not, we'll remind them that they owe
Yeah.
us that.
Yeah, no, it's processed.
Gotta get it
Yeah.
cleaned up.
All right, so our next item was 24 North Hill Road, and
We've requested to postpone to your next meeting date,
yep,
September
do
18th.
we need to vote on that, or?
Move to post,
Okay,
move to continue to the 18th.
all right, the next item, correspondence reports and updates.
And the reason for their request is kind of related, deals with the housing bond bill that was recently passed
Oh, that's right, yep, yep, yep.
and signed by the governor just a week and a half or so ago, maybe 2 weeks. Highlighted in your packet, thought of a particular interest to this board was the section on accessory dwelling units. So the tricky thing about this portion of the bond bill is that some of it is in effect now, some of it doesn't go into effect until February 2nd, 2025. So first section is in effect now, which basically states that you cannot unreasonably restrict accessory dwelling units. I don't think anybody here would think that we do now. We do have a process where folks can apply for a special permit. This board has routinely reviewed those and approved a majority of them. So I don't think we would necessarily have any issues there. The thing we may have to start putting our thinking caps on for, ironically enough, starting on Groundhog Day, is another zoning bylaw amendment relative to accessory dwelling units to see how our bylaw can gel with the new Section 8, which introduces some math back into it, which we had removed in our previous bylaw amendment, where it basically says that any dwelling with 50% of the gross square footage or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller, could have an accessory dwelling unit by right on the property. It is limited to one per property. If someone wanted to try to have more than one, a municipality can put restrictions on that. The municipality could seemingly have some sort of process for anything that's looking to go over that square footage allowance. But anything that kind of fits in that box, if you will, could have a by right process.
So essentially, what we just did, worked on to get our own bylaw written, is kind of no good.
So let's start putting our thinking caps on for likely annual town meeting, to have a zoning bylaw amendment pertaining to accessory dwelling units. So we just wanted to get it on your radar, and so that way you can start getting your thinking caps on. And
Will it still be a special permit, or is it gonna be by right? Will it be by right as long as they meet all the criteria, or do they still have to come in front of us for a special permit?
So if they're able to meet, say they have a 1,500 square foot home and they propose a 750 square foot accessory dwelling unit, meets setbacks, what have you, would be a by right. If they want to go over that, if somebody wanted, 1,000 square foot accessory dwelling unit, you could have a special permit process for that.
So, once again, Mara has done us in.
Yeah.
We had this pretty well down to size and everything else, and now it's gonna be something else. And Joe and Jeff were telling me that they really haven't got a lot of guidance from the state on any of this yet. So it's kind of a big
Are you
crapshoot.
expecting any guidance?
It does say that the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities may issue some guidance. We don't know for sure it'll come out, but it's quite possible they'll issue some additional guidance on this.
So hence, that's why these people with the ADU on North Hill Road are waiting to see what's
See
gonna
what
happen.
guidance may or may not come out by next month.
Okay. But your effort was greatly appreciated, man. All right, anything else, Joe, that you have?
No, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else on the board have anything?
No.
Motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.